All right, motherfucks. It's your boy, the hater. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about AEW and NXT today. And then in a later video, I'm going to talk about some other shit, including this whole Daniel Bryan situation. But for now, motherfucks, we're going to talk about NXT and AEW. We're going to review both shows a little bit and kind of determine which show was better. I personally thought that NXT was probably a little bit better this week, but I will say that both shows completely sucked ass. So NXT starts out, we have a tag match. Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai versus Zoe Stark and Io Shirai. Now the problem with this match, of course, is that the title match at Stand and Deliver is going to be Io Shirai and Raquel Gonzalez. However, Raquel Gonzalez has come off 2 back-to-back losses. You know what I mean? I understand it's presented as if she's the Diesel and Dakota Kai is the Shawn Michaels and Diesel's going to become champion now. I understand that. But she did come from 2 back-to-back losses. So from a kayfabe perspective, it makes absolutely no sense for her to be number 1 contender. Does it, motherfuckers? You know what I'm saying? It's this kind of shit, this kind of little shit that makes it worse, right? If Raquel Gonzalez is not going to defend the Women's Tag Team Championships at the pay-per-view, why even put it on her? Just to have her drop it? You know what I mean? It would have been much better if they did this a little bit differently, but that's neither here nor there. I don't want to waste too much time talking about this because nobody really cares about this. Let's be real, motherfucks. Nobody really cares about Raquel Gonzalez versus Io Shirai. Hopefully Raquel Gonzalez wins, only so we can move on from Io Shirai. Like, what is she going to do next? Io Shirai has Mickie James written all over her. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's going to, have, this meaningful time, and then eventually she's going to go into obscurity again. So, who cares, you know? Raquel Gonzalez got the rub here with a little powerbomb thing, which I think is pretty cool. Next up, we had some more footage of Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. This is a waste of time. Nobody wants to see this. Honestly, nobody really cares about this. I really cannot imagine a situation where people are looking forward to this match. I don't get it, motherfuckers. I don't get it. Then we had Bronson Reed versus LA Knight. And lo and behold, cucks, once again, I am proven correct. LA Knight lost this match clean. Bronson Reed, a.k.a. Bull Dempsey 2021, beat LA Knight clean. I think that right there is the end of that. LA Knight is done. It's over. You can't even beat Bronson Reed. He came in, talked all this shit. He's going to be a Bobby Roode. Let's be real, motherfucks. You know, I will say the splash of Bronson Reed was pretty badass. He has a good splash. It makes it look like he's going to just really landing all of his weight on the guy. Now, there you go. It's some stupid shit, right? Turns out that Danny Burch was injured by Carrion Cross. So that's one more thing we have that we can add on Carrion Cross's resume. He injures wrestlers that are more entertaining than him. So Danny Burch has been injured. Therefore, Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch are no longer tag team champions. I also believe that Pat McAfee either is no longer with the company or isn't with the company for the time being. You know what I mean? So this entire Pat McAfee faction has been a complete flop now. You know what I mean? I get that Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch still hang out with each other and Pete Dunne, but now Danny Burch is also hurt. So what's the point? You know what I mean? Is there really a reason to continue this nonsense? Hopefully they just end this and they just allow Pete Dunne to go back to NXT UK where he might actually be useful. You know, he doesn't do anything here. He's just another Roderick Strong. We already have one of them. You know, we don't need another Roderick Strong up in this bitch. You know, that's one of the worst things about the indie smarks. It's exactly that. It's that idea, right? That it doesn't matter what, the indie smarks will always like these indie wrestlers. You know what I mean? Even when they bring nothing to the table, right? I understand, for example, I turn it around on Daniel Bryan a little bit, but the facts are what the facts are. I have reasons for that. Motherfucks, I have reasons. I can actually articulate why I'm liking this Daniel Bryan run. But people, for example, they just see Pete Dunne and they're like, oh, another one of those guys. He's great, but it's you already have Roderick Strong. You have Kyle O'Reilly, you have Bobby Fish, you have Adam Cole. They're all the same thing. You don't need this other guy. So hopefully this shit ends. But until then, we're going to have a triple threat tag team match. It's going to be MSK versus Grizzled Young Vets versus Legado del Fantasma at WrestleMania NXT version, right? Now, the thing about this is that MSK, I think, we're supposed to be the number 1 contenders. So it's shouldn't they just become champions? Kind of like Asuka became champion when Becky Lynch relinquished the title. You know what I mean? Shouldn't that be the correct move here? I believe so. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, this pretty much makes the Dusty Rhodes Classic completely meaningless because why would anyone want to win this when you can just come in second place and still get the same result. You know what I mean? That's how I would feel if I were MSK. And then Legado del Fantasma, I think they were like third place or something. Like, why are they even in this? They've won like 2 matches, you know? It's just shitty booking in my opinion, and nobody cares about this match either. Although it's probably going to be one of the best matches on the card because everyone involved is like a pretty fun wrestler to watch. Then we have Carrion Cross versus Oni Lorcan. So we get this overproduced, hacky entrance. Scarlett comes out, looking all Botoxed up, right? Lip syncing this garbage song, you know? And they also show like what he did last week to Finn Balor at some point in the show. And he did his 3 moves, one of which is an elbow to the back of the head, which normally I would like as a finisher for someone like JBL, but not for someone like Oni Lorcan. It was what it was. Obviously, I don't think I have to continue talking about this. Obviously, Carrion Cross beat Oni Lorcan, who I don't know what's going to happen to him now. Probably going to get released. Let's be real, motherfuckers. Probably going to get released. Even though he's one of the fun guys. I don't know what to tell you. Then we have Drake Maverick versus Walter from Imperium, motherfuckers. Now, Walter is actually a good wrestler. He's actually fun to watch. He's built differently. He looks like he can kick your ass. And he has this baby face thing going on, which is really weird, right? Because it's like this big, strong guy with a baby face. And it's like really eerie, you know? I believe Walter should be NXT champion. Like, I believe in real life, Walter would destroy Carrion Cross. And he would obviously destroy Finn Balor in like maybe 2 seconds. Like, it would take nothing. He just grab him by the throat and just slam him to the ground, and that'd be the end of that. This was great. I enjoyed this a lot. Drake Maverick is underrated. He always has been. But let's be real. Basically, Drake Maverick just kept attacking him a little bit, did nothing, got slammed like a motherfucker, got powerbombed, and then Walter put the single leg Boston Crab on him, and that was it. The referee stopped the match. Not because Drake Maverick tapped out, but because he was out. Right, he was knocked out from the power bomb, presumably. You know, Tommaso Ciampa came out, right, and I'm actually looking forward to this match. I don't know why I'm looking forward to it, but if it's a long match, this could be a good match. You know, first of all, I like the fact that the NXT UK title is being defended at NXT WrestleMania because it's one of the more important NXT titles, obviously, right? So there's that. Number 1, motherfucks. Number 2, I like seeing Walter wrestle. Walter is entertaining. You know what I mean? He hits hard. He doesn't fuck around. You know, like he's a guy that really is believable in terms of like this guy is not like some sissy. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't, like for example, take someone like Randy Orton. Randy Orton's not a sissy, but he sometimes wrestles like a sissy. You know, he's always like slithering and stalking the prey, all that other shit. Walter doesn't do that. He gets up and hits someone in the face, right? And Imperium is cool. Now, the problem with this match at NXT, of course, is the very predictable, where will Timothy Thatcher land on this? You know what I mean? That's obviously the whole point of this match. And obviously, I think it's clear that Timothy Thatcher will probably side with Imperium, right? To bring in the new wrestling year with them. And they can be a force on NXT. They can be like the new Undisputed Era in a sense. Right? The next big dominant faction. Except instead of having people like Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, you have people like Walter, Timothy Thatcher, right? 2 big motherfucks, 2 strong guys. 2 guys that look like they can kick your ass, you know? So Tommaso Ciampa is looking more and more like a dwarf from Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, right? He's got this cul-de-sac haircut because he's letting his hair grow out. It's gray. He's bald. His beard is gray. Like, he just looks like an old man, you know? That plus the fact that he's about 5'3" makes this preposterous. Like, it's preposterous. Like, seeing him next to Walter is just ridiculous. Like, Walter is bigger than him in height, bigger than him in width, and obviously stronger than him. And I honestly believe Walter is more athletic, so I don't really see what the point of Ciampa is, you know? I get it. It's better than having nothing, you know? It's one of the better situations for a match, but it is what it is. I'm looking forward to it because I think it's going to be like a hard-hitting affair and a good one at that. Not like a shitty one like those New Japan matches where Tomohiki Ishii like beats the shit out of someone and then like Shibata dies at the end. You know what I'm saying? No, not like that. You know, like a real one, like a good one, right? Next up, what do we have next up? Next up, we had, this was stupid, the Robert Stone brand, which might as well they should just fire Robbie E. Robbie E was awesome in TNA. He had that Jersey Shore gimmick with Cookie. You know what I'm saying? That was cool. Bring that back. It's a perfect time to do it. Jersey Shore is back and it's popular again. I don't know why they're saddling him with this boring-ass Robert Stone gimmick, right? Basically, he bribes what's-her-face at some point in the show, Mercedes Martinez, and she becomes the partner for Aaliyah, right? So it's Aaliyah and Mercedes versus Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, who have new music, right? As if music was what's missing from these two jobbers, right? Like, I think Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart might be the two least cool people in the world now. Shotzi Blackheart was cool a little bit the first few weeks she was around because she came out with the little tank and shit like that. That was kind of nice, I thought, but it doesn't matter. And then they defended the titles, the most meaningless titles in the history of wrestling, the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. And there's a tweet here from WWE. It says, "And still," like, who gives a fuck, dude? You know, whatever, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Then Roderick Strong attacks Cameron Grimes for no reason. I guess he attacks him because he's pissed off that his friends have betrayed him. Who gives a shit? Cameron Grimes deserves better than this. Cameron Grimes has a better future than these guys, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So there you go. That's what happened with that shit, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Then we had Jordan Devlin versus Kushida. Long story short, some distractions happen. Kushida kind of sucks. I mean, let's be real. This guy has been a flop for the most part. I put him in the same category as Carrion Cross. People that I don't understand why they're supposed to be good, right? He's been a flop. Jordan Devlin's even worse. Jordan Devlin wins with a roll-up, right? Eventually, what's his face comes out? Not Mendoza, the main one, Escobar. Santos Escobar comes out, and they have like a stare down. Shawn Michaels comes out, so you're thinking like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? And basically all he does is he takes a ladder and throws it in the ring, right? The implication, of course, being, motherfucks, that this will be a ladder match where they're going to hang both titles from the ring. Much like they did with the Intercontinental title between Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels, right? Now, problem with this, of course, is, number one, this match could be good. So it should be, I believe, one of the main events of NXT Stand and Deliver, right? I believe that this match needs to be like that high up in the card to kind of put over the Cruiserweight title. You see what I'm saying? It needs to be put over. It feels like a jobber title, and Santos Escobar is making it feel a bit more important by consistently being involved in storylines, especially storylines involving bigger people than him, like Carrion Cross, right? Now, the problem with this, motherfucks, and I'll say it like it is, right? I'll say it like it is. Let's call it like it is, motherfucks. Say it like it is. This match could be good. Quite frankly, I don't know enough about Jordan Devlin. Like, I haven't seen enough of his matches to know if he's good or not. The ones that I have seen, he's been all right. Like, he's athletic. Like, he's not horrible, right? I mean, he's like a Finn Balor. So it's like, if you put Finn Balor in this match, put Jordan Devlin in the main event, there you go. There you have it, motherfucks. So here you are, right? Now, the problem with this match, of course, is that, like, bro, this is not Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels, right? The Razor Ramon-Shawn Michaels feud wasn't awesome just because the match was great and just because, the stakes were relatively high for the Intercontinental title, which actually meant something back then, whereas the NXT title means nothing. The NXT Cruiserweight title means even less, right? The reason why that was a big deal was because it was Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, two guys that everyone knew were going to be big deals, right? Everyone knew Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon were going to be the future of professional wrestling, right? And everyone was right. Shawn Michaels became one of the best of all time, and Razor Ramon became Scott Hall and had one of the best careers ever in WCW, in my opinion, right? Problem with this match is that neither of these guys will ever be anything above this, right? Like, either one of them, whoever wins the Cruiserweight title, who cares? Like, nothing will come of this. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like Jordan Devlin's going to go and become WWE champion. Although, if I had to choose one of them who might make it, it would be him, because he's a little bit bigger and because he's, I think, like, much younger, you know? So there you go, right? I'm not excited about this. They also had a showdown, like what's it called? A face-off, I believe. At the end, it was Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly having this ridiculous, it was presented as if William Regal was going to dish out consequences. All he did was have him sign a contract, and he was like, WWE will not be responsible for what you do to each other. Like, first of all, these guys are like 5'7", all right? So, like, nobody gives a fuck about the fight that they're fighting, right? You've had people like Kane and Big Show destroy each other, and and it hasn't come to this. You know, like, these guys, like, one tried to run over the other one, right? Shawn Michaels was there as well, and they tried to, like, tease the possibility of a Shawn Michaels and Adam Cole, like, confrontation. It's ridiculous. Shawn Michaels is 50 times better than Adam Cole in every capacity. He was always a better wrestler. He's more attractive. He's stronger. He has a better physique. He's had better matches, and he's cool. Number one, motherfucks. He's DX. You know what I'm saying? Like Roderick Strong and these other jabrones, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly. They're not cool. They're just a bunch of nerds who pretend they're cool. Like, these are guys that never were cool, and now they're like, we're gonna play cool guys on TV, and they don't know how to do it because they've never been cool. It's kind of like the New Day. It's a bunch of nerds. It's a bunch of nerds who come out there and like they want us to believe that they're like hip cool guys. I can tell they're not. I can tell they're just nerds. These are people that I would make fun of in high school. You know what I mean? Not the other way around, cuck. So anyways, it is what it is. The show was, I think, all right, but for only one reason. It did a good job at presenting what would happen in the future, right? It really pushed the narrative of what would be going on, you know what I mean? Like in different times, right? In different times leading up to the pay-per-view, which is relatively soon. It's in like 2 weeks, right? So I think it did a good job. It explained some of the feuds, and it set up some new feuds. That's all the show was meant to do. It wasn't meant to entertain anybody, and it didn't really entertain me in terms of like the in-ring action or the promos, right? Like I thought the Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole thing was kind of hacky and overproduced. It was just too much talking. Like Kyle O'Reilly kept saying like, I came out of this a better man. Like all this stupid shit that you'd hear like a jabron, like a nerd say. You know what I'm saying? Like this is some kind of shit a nerd says. Like back in the day, if someone said this kind of shit, someone would be like, yeah, shut the fuck up. I'm tired of you like talking about how you came out of this different. Like fucking bitch, be quiet. You know what I mean? That's what Kyle O'Reilly was doing. He was like, because he's a nerd, he thinks this shit's cool, right? So he's like, I came out a better man. And he's like, for the first time in a long time, in years, I've been able to get a good night's sleep. What? You were a heel by yourself. Nobody forced you to be a heel. What are you, some sort of fucking sissy? Oh, Adam Cole told me to be a heel, so I became a heel, and I was struggling with it for 3 years. Like, why the fuck would anyone want Kyle O'Reilly to win this match? He comes out like the biggest bitch of all time, At least Adam Cole was like, this is who I am, fuck it. So that's what I'm saying, I really enjoyed that part, personally. So there you have it. I thoroughly thought that part was good, The build-up part, the actual promo part was shit, don't get me wrong. But the build-up part, at least they're trying, right? At least they're giving us a reason. They're really cementing the fact that Kyle O'Reilly is a face and Adam Cole is a heel. And it seems like it's the beginning of a Kyle O'Reilly push, So that I did like. I did like that because I want there to be an expectation. For these big shows, there needs to be an expectation of what's going to happen next, right? So it seems to me that what's going to happen next is Cuck O'Reilly is going to beat Adam Cole, and he's going to have some sort of singles push, probably ending with a nice short run with the North American title. I don't see this guy becoming NXT champion, But the problem I have with this, which is also the problem I had with AEW this week, was that this is something that was like a, what's it called? First of all, we've seen it a million times. Like I'm pretty sure Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly beat Adam Cole at Wrestle Kingdom 13 or some shit like that a few years ago, right? They had a feud over the ROH title, and Kyle O'Reilly won. So I'm not really looking forward to this for that reason. I don't really give a shit. I've already seen this match, and I don't care, But it is what it is. At least they tried. You can tell that this show was a show where they tried, right? It's important. That's important. It's important when you try. That's why they had people like Shawn Michaels and things like that in order to give us the impression that they are, in fact, trying. So, I give them some props for that. The show itself wasn't entertaining. But I will say that I am looking forward more to NXT Stand and Deliver thus far than I am for WrestleMania. I'm not looking forward to this WrestleMania at all. It sounds like shit, you know what I mean? None of this entertains a boy. So let's move on to AEW, right? I had a lot of problems with this show, motherfuckers. I had a lot of problems with this show, okay? The show, first of all, I'm not really a fan of anything that's going on in AEW right now. The first match was Kenny Omega versus Matt Sydal, a.k.a. motherfucks. What's his face? Evan Bourne. Remember him, motherfucks? Evan Bourne. This guy was in TNA for a while. Then WWE signed him and they give him they pushed him as if he was going to be a big deal. But we all knew he wasn't, just because look at his facial expressions. He has that one facial expression, or he has two. This guy has two. Carrion Cross has one. This guy has two. He has either worried and I'm about to die, or happy and confident. That's all this guy does. Kenny Omega beat him. It was a very long match. Kenny Omega didn't really come out looking strong out of this because Matt Sydal is a jobber, let's be real. So he ended up looking pretty good, Matt Sydal did. So, but Kenny Omega won. The finish of the match was complete shit. Basically, Kenny Omega goes for the one-winged cuck, and he gets countered into a roll-up by Matt Sydal, right? And you think it's going to be over, but except it's not going to be over because this jobber's not beating Kenny Omega. And Kenny Omega kicks out, and then knees him in the face. Like, it was the weirdest thing. Like, Matt Sydal was on top of him, but Kenny Omega kicks out and then is the first one to be able to do a move. You know? It's like, it's almost as if Matt Sydal went for the pin, then forgot that he's in a match, let go, and just waited there like an asshole while Kenny Omega got up and did the V-trigger on him. Then Kenny Omega hit the one-winged angel, and that was the end of that. It wasn't good, motherfucks. It wasn't good. All right? So that was the problem that I had with that. Like, the way that the segment, the match ended and the segment was really, really stupid, I thought, personally. So there you go. What do we have next? We had, what did we have? I think it was the, what was it? I don't have my notes here, but I don't think it was the thing. Okay, I think it was fucking, what's it called? Hangman Page, motherfucks. Hangman Page versus Cesar Bononi. Another horseshit match. Another total garbage. Like, I mean, this wasn't even a match. Like, this is basically like, look, Adam Page is still here. Remember him. You know what I mean? That's all it was, right? There wasn't anything else going on with this. It wasn't anything special. It was just a reminder that this guy still exists in this company. That's all it was. You know, like, oh, Adam Page is still here. We don't have anything important for him yet, but just don't forget that he's still here. Look, he's beating Cesar Bononi. You know what I mean? So that was the end of that. Nobody enjoyed this whatsoever. The match ended with a buckshot lariat, like in the most uneventful way imaginable. You know, it wasn't good. Nobody enjoyed it at all. So what else do we have? Next up, we have, oh my God. At some point, before we talk about this match, I gotta get this out of the way. At some point, Britt Baker came out, tried to put herself over, compared herself to Mick Foley, and essentially insinuated that somehow her match made her a legend. Like, nobody gives a shit about this match, you know? Like, nobody cared at all. Like, I barely even watched it. I fast-forwarded it because the match had no meaning. You know what I mean? Like, this is a problem with AEW. They think that the match itself matters. It doesn't matter at all. What matters is the meaning behind the match. You see what I'm saying, motherfuckers? The meaning behind the match. That's all that wrestling is. The match itself needs to be good, you know, to justify having it, right? But if there's no meaning in the match, I have no interest in it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example. While watching NXT, I saw a commercial. It was going to be Ilya Dragunov versus some jabron today, right? Today, motherfucks, NXT UK. And it was supposed to be this, like, barbed wire street fight or something, right? I'm not going to watch that. I don't give a shit. I don't know who the other guy is. I don't care. What's the point of the match? What's the meaning behind it? Is there a reason why we're having this match? Maybe there is, but I don't know it. So I don't care. You see what I'm saying? I don't care if someone's going to have like a death cage match. I don't care if they're going to have a penis in your anus match, as The Rock would say. I don't care, unless there's a meaning, right? And there was no meaning between Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. It was just this meaningless feud that went on for months, and nobody cared. People were waiting for it to be over already. Britt Baker came out, and she was like, I'm great now. No, you're not. Like, I mean, I'm sure the match was good. You know, and Britt Baker is one of the better ones, one of the better girls in AEW, but she's not great. You know what I mean? Let's call it like it is, motherfucks. So I'm glad that we got that out of the way, because now we have to talk about this. FTR and Shawn Spears with Tully versus the Varsity Blondes and Dante Martin. Dante Martin is one of the guys from, I think, Top Flight, right? I don't know where the other one went. I don't really give a shit. But it was him and Varsity Blondes versus FTR and Shawn Spears of the Penis Skull, right? Now, the Penis Boys, right, as I call them now, the problem with this match was exactly what I'm going to say. I could see a day, motherfucks, I could see a day where Dante Martin and the other Top Flight guy get signed by WWE in the same capacity as, like, the Singh brothers, right? As the Bollywood boys. I could see them being signed to that capacity. Just like a cruiserweight tag team that's going to be jobbers for the majority of their careers. I could see that happening. And I can definitely see, I'm almost certain that WWE eventually will sign Brian Pillman Jr. And I'm almost certain that they're going to sign Griff Garrison, because this guy actually seems like he could have a future. So all I could think about in my head was, if this match took place in NXT, it would be the other way around. It would be the new signees, Dante Martin and the Varsity Blondes, versus 3 WWE jobbers, right? And the good guys would win. You see what I'm saying, motherfucks? This match, in a different context, has a completely different feel to it, right? Because in WWE, obviously, Shawn Spears was like one of the biggest jobbers in the history of wrestling in WWE, and FTR was also not much better. So I could totally see them 3, for example, teaming up and wrestling like a 3-man team of any sort. Like, imagine if the Wyatt family debuted, or if the Shield debuted, or if Dante Martin and the Varsity Bloods debuted, right? They would wrestle FTR and Shawn Spears, and they would beat them clean, you know? So to me, it was very strange to see that, like, AEW doesn't see it this way, right? I understand the penis boys are going to get their push. I get it, right? I get it. But the facts are what the facts are. Forget Dante Martin. He's probably the worst out of the three. But you have Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison, two guys that could be stars. Like, I don't know why Griff Garrison isn't in the spot Jungle Boy is. Like, why is Jungle Boy better than Griff Garrison? You know what I'm saying? He's not. You know? They look exactly the same, except Griff Garrison is bigger by like a foot and 50 pounds. And, you know, and he looks great. He has like a good physique. He's not like some fat fuck, right? So, I don't know why these guys are getting this, like, are getting buried, if you will, in order to put over Shawn Spears. You know? And now at this point, it's gotten to the point where every Shawn Spears match, especially like the ones on TV where JR is commentating, right? JR has to remind us, basically, why Shawn Spears has had one of the worst careers in the history of WWE. He has to remind us and also justify it. But you cannot justify the impossible, right? JR said something along the lines of, Shawn Spears is tired of being that close. He's never been close to anything. This guy has been a colossal failure his entire career. Like, this guy has probably one of the worst WWE records of all time. You know what I mean? Like, at least people like Taka Michinoku and this other shit, at least these people were on TV. You know, they were on TV on Raw, on SmackDown. They had important segments, you know? And when it was time to use them, they were used correctly. You know? Shawn Spears was just, I don't want to say mishandled because I don't think he's that good, you know? But I will say, next to these guys, he looks like a giant, right? He's gigantic next to these motherfuckers. You know what I mean? It was very weird. Like, it's like he's like a foot taller than FTR. He's a foot taller than Cucky Rhodes. Maybe not Cucky Rhodes. He's probably a little bit taller than Cucky Rhodes. He's like 6'2", basically, right? He's taller than MJF by like a fucking mile, right? MJF has to be like 5'6" or something. MJF is a fucking small dude. After the match, after FTR won with when Ty Dillinger hit the Death Valley Driver, which was pretty sick looking. He did it really well, right? Like, that's the thing that I don't get about Ty Dillinger. Like, he's a big guy. Like, compared to these NXT jobbers, he's a big guy. I mean, in NXT, there's always someone bigger than him, like Drew McIntyre and shit like that. But in AEW, he's one of the biggest guys they have. He's one of the guys that looks like a wrestler compared to people like MJF. You know what I mean? He's like comparable to Wardlow almost. You know what I mean? Like, and Wardlow's presented as if he's Big Show in AEW. So what I'm saying here, motherfuckers, is that Ty Dillinger might actually deserve a chance at some point, but it's too late. You can't rehabilitate this cuck. You know, it's done, man. It's too late. His only option, honestly, is to do what Matt Hardy did, and that's go in the Indies or something like that, or TNA, or even AEW, and reinvent himself. Like, he needs a full reinvention. I'm not talking about calling yourself the chairman and putting blue contacts on or bleaching your hair. That's not reinventing yourself. That's just called being a douche. You know, he needs to reinvent himself. Like, come up with a new gimmick, like make himself interesting, start stringing together some wins, and he has time to rehabilitate himself for sure. It's just that he doesn't seem interested in doing this. He seems more interested, motherfucks, in being part of this bullshit faction. You know, Tony Schiavone came in to interview MJF. MJF took a few digs at Jericho's weight and other things. And I cannot get past the fact that people think that this guy is good. MJF, I mean, okay, he's not as bad as some other guys in wrestling right now. You know what I mean? Like, he's better than like Jordan Devlin. He's better than Carrion Cross because he actually does speak and he actually does say things and he does have storylines and gets shit moving, right? But the facts are what the facts are. First of all, he's too short, all right? Tony Schiavone towered over him. Tony Schiavone was like a foot bigger than him, right? I found pictures of Tony Schiavone and Hulk Hogan, and Tony Schiavone looks like a kid next to Hulk Hogan. If you put Hulk Hogan next to MJF, it would look like the big one is fucking the little one. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be weird to just see, right? MJF is a small man. Now, he's broad, like he's got some muscle on him, don't get me wrong, but he's a small guy, right? This cocky heel thing is horseshit. Because number one, he's just saying things that actually are offensive, that actually are fucked up, that probably don't make Jericho feel good. Like hearing on TV that he's fat, right? Now, Jericho doesn't care probably, but he probably doesn't feel great about it, you know? I feel like Jericho's always been a little bit fat here and there, you know? Like on and off fat, right? But the facts are what the facts are. He cuts these little shitty promos about how people are fat, and he himself is not this like Adonis, you know what I'm saying? He's not a good looking guy. Let's call it like it is, you know what I'm saying? And then the other people in Pinnacle decided to speak as well, right? The fat guy from FTR, the bald guy, Dax the Axe, you what I'm saying? More like Dax the ass. Am I right? Right? Dax the ass started saying how he loves these people and they're his brothers. Okay, so we got another brotherhood thing, right? Who cares? Who cares? It's 5 jobbers, 3 of whom are legitimate WWE failures. Like 3 of whom are legit jobbers in WWE. And now they're in like a big deal faction here, you know? MJF and Wardlow don't need these guys, especially Wardlow. He doesn't need them, you know what I'm saying? But there they are anyways, cucks. So I really hated this segment. The match just made me think of a squash match. It should have gone the other way around. The penis call is not fun. We had Lucha Bros and the Laredo Kid versus the Young Cucks and Brandon Cutler. The match was exactly what you would expect. It was a 6-man tag team match that eventually became a 6-man free-for-all, do whatever the fuck you want match, which I hate. The match ended when I believe Laredo Kid hit the Spanish Fly on Brandon the Dragon Cutler. You know what I mean? And they won. Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid won. Good idea to bring in Laredo Kid to replace Neville. Neville is clearly unreliable. He, for some reason, cannot fly during the pandemic. He comes back and does nothing, right? And now he's injured again. So bring in Laredo Kid. And also, it was really weird to see Neville and Phoenix and Pentagon be the singles guy. That's fucking retarded. You've presented us the Lucha Brothers this whole time. So that's what I want to see, the Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid, right? I thought they did really well with this. The match wasn't that great. It was exactly what you'd expect. Some overproduced type of shit, which has led me and has influenced me to make a video called Lucha Libre Sucks. So look out for that one soon, because that's what this match made me think. Now, the problem with this, motherfucks, was just this. The fact that the Young Cucks and Brandon Cutler were a team, right? It's like, all of a sudden, Brandon Cutler is part of the main roster. You know what I'm saying? This is an AEW dark guy. Fine, whatever. We'll forgive that, right? After the match, Kenny Omega came out. This actually was pretty great. Kenny Omega cut a pretty good promo. I'm not going to lie. He cut a pretty good promo, basically stating the obvious. Basically saying, like, what the fuck is this shit? You know, all of a sudden the Young Bucks have gotten good. You know? He's like, I chose you guys, he said. I didn't choose AEW. I chose the Young Bucks, right? As per, like, continuing his career. He's like, I didn't stay in Japan where everyone loved me and I loved them. I didn't go to the big money WWE, right? He's like, I stayed with you guys. And you picked Brandon Cutler over me, and he is 100% right. He is 100% right about this. All of a sudden, the Young Cucks have become good guys. You know? Like, they turned their back on Adam Page, who all of a sudden is a face again. You know what I mean? They themselves turned face, right? Even though it looked like they were turning heel on Adam Page, right? Kenny Omega was in the middle of this, and he was the good guy, right? And now he's the only bad guy. What the fuck kind of horseshit booking is this, right? But Kenny Omega at least only turned heel, and now he is demanding that his friends turn heel with him. You know, it's a really interesting wrestling trope, and one that needs to be explored more often. Because Kenny Omega, I feel that he's right. And he's like, what are you going to do, hang out with Brandon Cutler? Or come with me? We're supposed to build this company together, right? I'm supposed to be champion. You're supposed to be tag team champions. You know? It is what it is. There you have it, motherfucks. So that's what I want to see. I want to see the Young Cucks become tag team champs, like TNA tag team champs, or the Good Brothers take the titles from the Young Bucks. And I want to see not a Bullet Club reunion, but I want to see some sort of consistency, some coherence between Kenny Omega and his friends. They shouldn't have split up like this. Like, why did they split up? The Elite. Why did the Elite split up, you know? So, it is what it is, but I liked the promo Kenny Omega cut, and then I liked how afterwards, Pentagon and Phoenix super kicked him in the face. The super kick was fantastic because one of them, I think Phoenix, kicked the microphone, right? And Kenny Omega was bleeding afterwards. So it really looked badass because the kick looked good. The sound it made when it hit the microphone sounded good. And Kenny Omega was bleeding. Then they hit the package pile driver double stop combination on Kenny Omega, right? Eventually they left and Good Brothers came out. And Kenny Omega gave like a thumbs up, like I'm good, which I thought was a nice touch. You know what I mean? Nothing to look forward to here, honestly. But it was a good segment. Not the match, but the segment, right? Then we had Nyla Rose versus Tainara Conchi, right? I thought Nyla Rose would squash her. No, I was wrong. Tai Conchi ended up hitting the DDT, the DDT as she calls it, the DDT on Nyla Rose and pinning her 1, 2, 3. After the match, Nyla Rose and the Bunny start attacking her. Hikaru Shida comes out, they're attacking each other, right? The bad guys win. They leave. Matt Hardy comes out. I guess someone must have told Matt Hardy, yo, hurry it up, bitch. You're almost out of time, right? Because he basically just said one sentence. He was like, the bunny has been held back. My clients deserve some help, right? Some opportunities, right? And that was it. That was the end of that. Then we had a fantastic match between John Silver and Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. The good parts of the match were the match itself. This is why I'm starting to like Darby Allin. Because when I hear about a Darby Allin match, I automatically want to watch at least a little bit of it. That's the mark of a good wrestler. You see what I'm saying, motherfuckers? I want to see what Darby Allin will do next. Because he has interesting matches. He's fun to watch, right? John Silver might be my favorite AEW wrestler right now. You know what I'm saying? John Silver is a star in the making. I really think WWE should sign him. Not his generic ass partner, but just him. And give him a dwarf gimmick. Seriously, I'm not even joking. Maybe put him with Ciampa. Call them the two dwarves. Put in like a hot girl with black hair. Call her Snow White and the two dwarves. I don't give a fuck what they do. The point that I'm trying to make is that John Silver is awesome. First of all, his wrestling style is fun to watch because he's a small man. This guy's got to be like 5'2". You know, like Adam Page, who's supposed to be 5'10", towers over him. He's like a foot taller. This guy's like 4'10", 5'2", somewhere around there, motherfuckers. You know, but he's strong and he does cool moves. So I really enjoyed watching this match, right? I knew Darby Allin would win, unfortunately, but just like I always say, like Triple H versus Taka Michinoku back in the day, right? There was a moment where you thought it's possible for John Silver to win, or at least for the time to run out and have it be a draw. Because they had Dark Order out there, people were cheering for John Silver, he was doing it for Brody Lee, etc., right? In the end, Darby Allin wins with the code red. The worst part of this match was, of course, Sting, right? Sting came out for some reason, right? Even though Dark Order wasn't doing anything. The only thing Dark Order did was basically like, what's it called? Alan Angels pushed, he pushed the fucking, what's his face? John Silver away from the suicide dive that Darby Allin was doing. And he ate the dive instead. That's the only thing, but they didn't attack Darby Allin, right? But Sting came out with a bat. First of all, why the fuck is Sting protecting Darby Allin? That's fucking weird. What are they, fucking backstage or something? You know what I'm saying? So there you have it. That's what happened. The match was pretty good. The match ended. That was the end of the show. There was a brawl afterwards involving Matt Hardy, but who gives a fuck? Also, it's important to note, the Murder Hawk monster, Lance Archer, he's like going after Sting now, and he said, Sting, without you, there would be no Murder Hawk monster. First of all, he said the phrase Murder Hawk monster like 8 times in this 20-second promo, right? It's never gonna get over, bro. Stop trying to make, fetch? Stop trying to make fetch happen. Murder Hawk monster is a retarded name. It's never gonna get over. And furthermore, why are you burying Sting? You know what I'm saying? Basically, all I got from this promo was that if Sting never existed, we never would have to deal with Lance Archer. So thanks a lot, Sting. You know, the worst thing about Sting's career is that it had apparently inspired Lance Archer. Nobody wants to see this. You know what I'm saying? So there you have it. That's all I gotta say about that. Nothing good came from this. So that's why I think NXT did a better job this week. The only thing this week that I liked about AEW was the Kenny Omega promo. Everything else, and the main event match. Everything else was shit. Like everything else was like a 0 out of 10. You know? So there you have it, cucks. That's all I gotta say about that, motherfucker.